What's up, guys? So today we are going to be discussing about Bitcoin, the current state of the markets. Am I bearish or am I bullish? And what is going on with the market generally speaking. Also, I'll be looking into the chart to see whether there is any potential of altcoin season still happening, because a lot of people are wondering, is there still altcoin season? Is this still going to happen? So these are the things that I'll be looking at in today's video. So if that's something that you're excited about, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, follow, share, and do all that nice stuff. So there are two things I want to discuss in this video. One is really good news, and the other is bad news, but not so bad. But let's get into the chart. All right, so let's start with looking at the bad news. So this is Bitcoin on the 1 week time frame. All right, so on this 1 week time frame, we can see very clearly that Bitcoin has this trend line that we've been maintaining since the beginning of the bull run, literally from November of 2022 all the way till now. And Bitcoin has not broken below this trend line yet, which is what the bull run is. The trend line is literally the sign of the bull run. So anything below this trend line, it's all over. It's game over. Now, there are a couple of things that are of concern here. Whenever something huge happens on the big time frame, it usually affects the entire time frame. So on this big time frame here, which is the 1 week time frame, we just had a stochastic RSI cross, and if you look at this stochastic RSI, you see that whenever we have a cross, it usually indicates something significant is going to happen in the market towards the downside, especially when it's a cross like this where the blue moving average is crossing below the orange moving average here. Right, so whenever that happens, you can see here it led to a many percent drop. This was about 27% here. In this place here, it led to about, I think this was about 30%. Yeah, 31%. I could go on and on, although it doesn't always happen like that, but there have been times where it has happened. So the question is, at what point in time does it not happen? That's what we should be looking at. So I think that besides this stochastic RSI, we also have this MACD to help us. They basically support each other at this point. So we have this MACD here that has not crossed yet. You get on this MACD, we have the moving average as well. It has its own moving average alongside this histogram. So if you look very closely, you see that prior in the past, this MACD here is, I consider it to be in a situation of it's not yet fully matured. It is not fully exhausted, so to speak. So I don't think there is going to be a MACD cross at this point. And if there is no MACD cross, it actually indicates a continuation of trend. That's how I see it anyway. If you look very closely here, we could get a consolidation, but there's no sign that it's going to drop. At least not yet anyway, because look at this here. Look at this consolidation that we had here. This was a significant consolidation because it actually tallies with what is going on right now. Look at this consolidation and look at where it happened. Now look at this. Bitcoin had approached oversold on the stochastic RSI and was actually starting to experience a curvature, but that curvature did not lead to a cross. You can see here we only traded getting close to making that cross, but we never did. And I feel like something similar may happen here, or maybe not even, but I'm just saying that that's how I see it happening, because we are still in a bull run and there's still strength. But anything below, when this stochastic, when this MACD starts crossing below this moving average, then we actually have a serious problem. But that has not happened yet. So if a consolidation like this is going to happen, it actually means that it's really great. And if we just look at something like price action alone, you can see that we actually broke above previous all-time highs. We didn't just break above it with a wick. We actually closed with the body. So that's evident that we have completely established new all-time highs basically. So the fact that we are even trading in this area and finding some support at this point here is actually a good sign, because at such a point we are flipping what was resistance before into support, and you can see this huge buying power here. This is the 1 week time frame that we're looking at, by the way. can see this huge buying pressure here, and basically showing that there is still demand in this market, even though we had this bearish engulfing. But this bearish engulfing was not crazy enough to push prices very, very low, which is good. Unlike a bearish engulfing that happened here and here, you see how it affected the entire market. But the subsequent candlesticks that comes after printing something like a bearish engulfing would be what would solidify or give you that confirmation that it's going to play out according to your analysis, basically. So in my opinion, I still think that this MACD has room to go to the upside. Maybe it's going to approach these high levels like it did before, and then we'll get that cross. But you should keep in mind that anything that makes this MACD cross on the moving average, you can actually consider the entire bull run over. I don't know if I'm the first person you hear say this, but once that MACD crosses, I think the bull markets would officially be over. And it could take a while before it could cross. It could be crossing, in Q3 or Q4, which is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Q4 actually for that cross, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. I digress. Let's go back into what's happening right now. So let's go to something like the 1 day time frame. I think we're done with the 1 week. So on the 1 day time frame, we have a lot of things that are really, really interesting here. Now on the 1 day time frame, we have this something really interesting going on here. I talked about this, so I had initially talked about this huge bearish engulfing candlestick that printed here, and this consolidation that happened there only to lead to a continuation. And this was what's really fraud some of the trades, that some of the short positions that I took, which Don Jazzy also participated in. That's so cool. Anyway, so all of these are being posted in my private group, by the way. If you're not in my private group, then you're missing out, because that is where I'm actually most active. You see, I've not made a YouTube video in a while, but on my Telegram, I'm posting every day, making trades. That's where the real action is going on. So if you want to join my private group, just comment the word private group under this video or send me a DM, and you get access. It's just $3 for a monthly subscription. Right, so after speaking about this bearish engulfing, I was pretty sure that the market was going to drop to at least 101k. Now, you see, the thing about this level is that it is actually very significant, because it's capable of reversing the entire thing. That is why once prices got to this level, I just simply took the profits out of the market, because it doesn't make any sense to still keeping it. We are still in a bull run. You can't be overly too bearish. My target for my short position was actually 94k, but I knew that it's possible that we won't get there, and the prices will just reverse at this support level. And that's exactly what's happening. We are finding support literally at the previous resistance level, and that's amazing. You see, we are trading sideways here. Now we also started to print a falling wedge, or a falling channel, whatever it is that you want to call it. But basically, you can see this channel here, and then we started breaking above it on the daily time frame. And if you even look at something like these indicators are super. There is nothing more bullish than this. Look at this MACD here. The MACD is also about to have a cross here. Once this cross happens, best believe that Bitcoin will start surging, and perhaps altcoins will follow as well. And if you look at the stochastic RSI here, we have a perfect inverse head and shoulders pattern here that formed at this point here. Look at it, with here being the neckline. Once you broke above it, you could be rest assured that prices will continue in the upside. And I had been looking at this thing for a while now, but I finally took the trade anyway. Right now, I'm in a long position, which I took in my private group. Again, send a DM to join my private group. Let me show you what that looks like. So over here, you can see where I made my trade call here. And I was like, this looks interesting for Bitcoin, especially if today closes like this on the daily. I'd expect more bullish daily closes this coming week. I want to trade this, but carefully. Here's my plan, and this was the entire trade call, basically. So I was actually right, because after this daily close here, we started printing more green candlesticks, and hopefully it will continue happening, especially now that we are about to break above this resistance line, which I will get into now on the 4-hour time frame. The market is literally surging right now. in front of us. So on the 4-hour time frame, I was able to mark out something here, which is the break and retest. So after Bitcoin broke out of here like this, we then got a brief retracement to provide a perfect buying opportunity for us. Right. So on the 4-hour time frame, I think my major concern was this resistance level here that we have, which is this huge one here. But I think when we started finding support at this level, I realized that you can see I even drew this line here. When we started finding support at this level, I think it was quite evident that this resistance level may not be, that much of a big deal to break above. And you can see right now we are literally surging above it to break it. The market is literally exploding as I'm making this video. That's crazy. But this is pretty cool. So we're going to see how far this can go. I think this could possibly lead to new all-time highs. It could be crazy like that, especially after breaking above this falling wedge. The falling wedge is usually a bullish confirmation. It's usually a bullish signal, indicating that prices are going to push to a higher side. Wow, look at this market surging right now. Right in the middle of the video that I'm making. That's crazy. I think that's all that I have for Bitcoin majorly. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance. In my opinion, Bitcoin dominance is really looking weird. We don't have anything to suggest that Bitcoin dominance is going to drop, which is actually very bad news for altcoins, if I'm being honest. Although we still have this supply area. Did I say area? Jesus. Although we still have this supply area here, which is where my green box is. But this supply area. This supply area is actually like very, very significant, and it's possible that we could get a rejection there. It's pretty possible, but I wouldn't bank on it at this point. I wouldn't bank on it. Sometimes when Bitcoin starts to behave like this, it's a perfect indication that we are getting close to the end of the market, especially when Bitcoin dominance keeps rising. We are supposed to see Bitcoin dominance drop at this point. And when I did this time-based analysis here, and I looked at it based on what has happened in the history, historical price action. Look at this here, 224 days right after the Bitcoin halving, then we see Bitcoin dominance drop significantly, literally. And then we have this year the exact same thing happening again in 2021. We saw after 224 days, we saw Bitcoin dominance drop significantly. But here, after 224 days, we saw Bitcoin dominance drop, but look at what happened right after that. And I think this was December 2024. This was after Trump won the election. So it's pretty interesting to see. The market is looking really weird, especially for altcoins. But for Bitcoin, it looks pretty okay in my opinion. Bitcoin looks healthy. It looks like it could do very well. We could possibly see new all-time highs on Bitcoin. However, it's really important to note that we are actually getting close to the end of this bull market. So that is something that you should keep in mind. Whenever you see markets rally, just, keep your sell button close by, because you want to take profits as much as possible. Don't forget to sign up for my crash course program if you are completely new to crypto. If you've never participated in trading before, or you are currently a struggling trader, you're struggling with being profitable, or struggling with analyzing, things like that, hop onto my crash course program, which is coming up on the 28th of this month. It's not something you want to miss. And if you feel like you are a little bit advanced and you're not on the level of the beginners, then you should hop on other programs. I have mentorship programs where we can both discuss, and we can also do something really private like what we had with Don Jazzy, where I come to meet you. The cost is a little different though. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, share, do all that nice stuff. I will see you in the next video. Bye.